So we're going to carry on knitting and we're going to create what's called garter stitch, but all it really is just rows of knitted stitches, and it's the simplest knitting you can do. You don't have to do anything fancy about it, you just keep going. So what we do to start the next row, all you have to do is move that needle that was in your right hand to your left, and we just get started again. So we're going to do exactly what we did before. That needle is going to go in, we're going to bring that yarn around the back and through, pick that up, and we're going to take him off and start the whole process again. So we're now moving everything onto our right needle again. So we're just going to keep going, and this is where things like tension are quite important, because if you get too tight you won't be able to, and it's all scrunched up, you won't be able to get your stitches off your needles. So you need to keep it at quite a reasonable tension, and words like tension are always a little bit daunting when you're beginning anything, because it doesn't mean anything in the beginning, but all it's really doing is stopping this becoming so tight that you can't use it, or so loose that you get really gappy material. It is something that comes with time. Everyone has got different ways of doing it. I showed you a nice kind of technical way of doing it. I actually find it much easier just to loop it around my middle finger, and then I control the yarn with my thumb and forefinger. I know this isn't how everybody does it. There's lots of different ways, but it's the way I find most comfortable and the way I feel I can control that yarn better. But you will find things that are most comfortable to you. And it's the same with holding your needles. I mean, there's only a few ways you can do it, but you will find something that works, that allows you to make those stitches in a nice, even way. You see, they're starting to come out nice and neatly, and so that they can still move on your needles quite comfortably. And so as I say, we're making garter stitch. It's such a classic stitch, and you can use it. It's brilliant when you're starting out for making anything. You can do scarves and squares for blankets and all sorts of things. It's quite trendy at the moment to make simple jumpers just using that stitch, because it's just showing off exactly what knitting can do. It's kind of that bare elements thing. It's quite cool, really. So we're going to do our last 2 stitches, and you'll see all we've done then is transferred it from the left needle to the right again. And what we're doing is creating this little raised pattern, and that's how you know it's garter stitch. It'll be the same on both sides. That little raised ridge, and that's what happens when you just work knitted stitches. So we're working on our piece of garter stitch. I'm just going to do one more row, and then we go, so you can see the really nice finished effect of it. And what garter stitch does is it creates this quite strong horizontal pattern through the material. So what it's really picking up on is this horizontal stripe. What you find when you start to mix a knit stitch with a purl is you can create all sorts of different patterns, and you create sort of patterns in relief and with indentations, and some with horizontal stripes and some with knitted stripes, and all through using just 2 stitches. But knitting on its own, when you create this garter stitch, creates this it's quite a bold, it's almost quite a graphic pattern with these lovely strong stripes through them. And here it is. This is our little sample of garter stitch. It's just 10 stitches across, but you can really see how effective that stitch can be.